Namaste.
Namaste.
I don't mean to be perched so high up here, just appear to be higher than anybody else. It's just that I have a butt that gets numb.
Ramana, we are welcoming new guests this morning.
Okay.
Elvira Laukes from Germany.
Elvira,
Elvira.
happy to have you.
Carlos Aguado
Happy
from
to have you for us.
Spain. And Jennifer Ramsey, also from Spain.
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Okay, happy to have you. And Bernd, good to see you back, Bernd. Haven't seen you in a while.
And we have Lucas here for the first time this season in the Satsang.
Ah, yes. Well, we've been already visiting, but it's good to have you in Satsang. And Thea, good to see you. Stillness and silence, to me, feels so good. It's almost like a shame to disturb it by conversation, but we're here together to maybe to share some ideas if they happen to be coming up. I guess from a worldly point of view, today seems to be a significant day. We were talking about it at breakfast this morning. Today being New Year's Day, does today feel to anyone any different than yesterday? In a general sense? If we really consider today in a general sense, now there may be some specific situations that might be appearing or feeling different than yesterday, but in a general sense, today is a day like any other day, is it not? So what makes it New Year's? What makes today New Year's Day? Is it only by our agreement? Do the birds and the flowers and the trees and Arunachala, the mountain, consider today a New Year's Day? We consider it to be New Year's Day if we do. A new day, but a new year. It is we, it is man that divides time or the appearance of time into sections. Just a point to consider. It is we that divide life up, apparently so. But it's only an appearance. Otherwise, there are no divisions. One day is just like any other day. What makes it seem to be different are the events themselves that happen and occur, that we relate with, that causes one day to seem and feel any different than any other day. Is that not so? couple of questions have been asked. One day might be a day that is happier and more harmonious than another day, or less happy and less harmonious than another day. The question was asked, how can I become more conscious of the sources of my anger so that it will diminish? A reasonable question. So we could say one day might be a little less harmonious than another day. What makes one day less harmonious than another day? From a personal point of view. Because you see, the same day that would be less harmonious for one may be more harmonious for another. So is it the day? Is it the day itself? Or is it we who see the day less or more harmonious? And what makes us see one day more harmonious, more acceptable, more pleasing than another day? Is it the self that we are that actually sees a day more harmonious than another day? Is it the awareness itself? The pure awareness itself, the pure being itself, that sees one day more harmonious or less harmonious than another? Or sees the events of the day to be more pleasant, more enjoyable, less angry than another? What is it? Is that not the mind? So the question, how can I become more conscious of the sources of my anger so it will diminish? If we incorrectly assume that the source of our anger is something outside of ourselves, as like someone or something that is making us angry, can we ever have any control? Can we?
No.
We will never be able to have control. Simply because we do not have control over the events that occur from one day to the next, apparently. Correct?
Correct.
So on that basis, we will never be able to be free from the effect of anger. If anger has to do with what comes to us, what appears to us. But on the other hand, if we look at it, what is coming to all of us, what is coming as an event, what is coming as a situation, what might be coming towards or being spoken, verbalized, or some action by someone to a group in which I'm a member of the group, whether we're a member of that group, And maybe I'm the one who gets angry, but no one else in the group gets angry. If I'm the only one in the group that gets angry and no one else gets angry, then was the anger due to what happened or what was said or the behavior of someone present, or was that me? Was it me? So where does the anger come from? Anger comes from within one's self. Now, what makes me angry when the man next to me or the person next to me is not angry, pertaining to the same event? The same event can be happening. I'm present along with several others, or maybe just one other. I'm angry, but the person next to me is not angry. Has that ever happened?
Yeah.
Can we ever see that happening? That we're present, an event occurs, everyone else is laughing, and I'm angry. Well, let's take it the other way around. I'm laughing and everyone else is angry. Are we getting it? So what is the factor that we're dealing with here? It has to do with our own conditioning, does it not? The conditioning of our own mind. So my mind is conditioned differently than the person next to me. Now, do I have control over my mind? Can I? Can I have control over whether or not I'm going to be identified with my mind and the anger that comes up in my mind? Yes, I can. I can't control perhaps the moment the anger comes up, but I can control whether or not I identify with the anger when it comes up. How? By seeing it when it comes up and knowing that I'm seeing it. We incorrectly assume that the sense of I that is angry is ourself. And it's not ourself, it's our mind. So all that really is required is very simply and very basically for us to make the distinction in consciousness between the self we are, the self I am. Let's do it first person, singular. Let's talk about it personally. Not generally, but personally. If it were to pertain to you, that you might be the person that needs to control your anger, and I'm sure all of us have had this experience at one time or another. Have we not? I have. So, if we want to be free of anger at any given moment, when that anger arises, who's having the anger? I'm having the anger. Who's feeling the anger? I'm feeling the anger. The person next to me may not be having any anger. Or he or she may also have anger. But it's not him that we're concerned about. It's me. The anger has to do with me. Because you see, I'm going to be the one that is suffering from the results of being identified with the anger. How to be free of it? Just simply stop. See that there's anger. Whose anger is it? It's my anger. Where did it come from? It came out of me as a thought. It came out of me as a feeling. But am I it? Am I the anger? Or is the anger coming up as a thought? Which? It's coming up as a thought. When I see that it's coming up as a thought, all I have to do is to see it. Just in the seeing of it and knowing it's not me. You see, what has happened for most of us, for many of us, if not most, we have been conditioned to the wrong notion that the I that is angry is me, and incorrectly believing that the I that is angry is me, the self. I feel that I have no say-so in the matter. I have no control of the situation. How can I have control over my anger when it just flares up? But if I don't recognize that it is not me, I'm going to be at the effect of it. When I do recognize that it is not me, then I can just see the anger. And seeing the anger is seeing it as just like it would be seeing it if it was happening to someone else. Now, let me ask you this. Do you have to get angry when someone else is getting angry, or can you just observe and watch them getting angry? Huh? Just look and see someone else being angry. You can see them being angry without you being angry. Can't you?
Yeah, sure.
Well, when you begin to get it that it's not you that is angry, but it's just the mind that has this anger that is rising up, and you see it as not me, it's the mind. Well, in exactly the same way as seeing someone else angry, you can be there with what you have formerly been calling your own anger. And not have to be angry. Would you find that helpful? Another question along with it is, how can I keep the clear focus on my path long after I have seen my guru, my teacher? Well, in exactly the same way. Who is seeing the guru? Who is seeing the teacher? Is it not me? Now this me, if I abide in the pure awareness of being that I am, in the thoughtless awareness of being of I am that I am, is there really a path? Can I really leave? Is there anywhere to go? So keeping the full focus of my attention on the being that I am. And the being that I am is always the being I am. I don't change my being from one being to another. Bhagavan Ramana gave us such a boon, such a great benefit in sharing the process of inquiry. Who am I? Who is this being that I am? Am I my mind, or am I the awareness that is aware of my mind? When I begin to see and make the distinction between the mind and this awareness that I am, or the awareness that I am, which is first, and the mind, a great relief, a great release of the tremendous burden of life occurs. The burden of life. What's the burden of life? Thinking about it. Thinking about it and having to deal with it. Very simply and very basically, if we're abiding in the awareness of the self that we actually are prior to the mind, and thus free of the mind, then I ask you, without the mind and without thought, do we have any problems? Can you have a problem without the thought of a problem? Tell me how you can have a problem without the thought of a problem. Is that basic enough? Is that free and clear enough? Do we really wish to be free and clear? Then simply get it. You can't have a problem without the thought of the problem. So who has a problem? If you say, I have a problem, understand you're thinking right then, and you're thinking, I have a problem. But if you're not thinking you have a problem, please show me how you can have a problem. I mean, really, just get in touch with it. Show me how. I'd like to know. It's impossible to have a problem without the thought of the problem. So thinking you have the problem is the cause of the problem. In this same sense, then, thinking that I'm angry is the anger. Is there any difference whatsoever between anger and thinking you're angry? Is there?
No.
Understand, you cannot have anger without thinking that you're angry. So, anger is just the thought of anger. If you don't have the thought, I'm angry, you can't be angry. So very simply, how can I abide in the pure awareness that I am without thinking? How can we do that? I want to ask you all a question. Did you all notice me just scratching my nose? Did you happen to notice this fan is going up here and the light is on? Did you think that the fan is going and the light is on, or did you notice that it was? Did you think that I was scratching my nose? Or was I just scratching my nose and you observed that I'm scratching my nose? So how can you live without thought? Very basically, you just live without thought. Thought is not necessary for you to live. Thinking is not necessary for you to live. Have you ever had a scratch, an itch, and you scratched without thinking about it? Did you ever just nod with regard to something without thinking that you were nodding? You were noticing what was happening. You were responding to what was happening, but you were not thinking about your response? Does that ever happen? How can you do that? You just simply do it. It does not require thought. Let me ask you, is there anyone here whose heart is not beating? I don't think so. I don't imagine you'd be alive. Huh? So your heart is beating. The blood is surging through your body, through your veins. Your hair is growing. Your fingernails are growing. Right? Your lungs are pumping and drawing in and sending out air. Correct? You're breathing, right? How can you do that without thinking about it? The clouds are going over outside. The rivers are flowing. How the tides are coming in and going out. The planet is spinning on its axis and circling the sun. How can that all happen without you and me thinking about it? Tell me, how can it happen? If you get in touch with a sense of I that thinks that your actions are dependent upon you as the activator of these actions, the one who puts forth these actions, if you begin to tune in with this sense of me that has this life and thinks that I am the one that is living this life. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? You with me? If you start looking where is this I? Where is this me that is living this life? Can you find it? Can you locate this me that is living this life? Really look. Where in your body is this me? Where in your mind is this me that is living this life? Can you find it? This is not an unimportant question. Please nod your heads if you're with me, huh? Richard? Okay. Can you find this me if you search for this me that is living this life? Can you find it? Does it have a location? Does it have an actual point of reference that you can go right to and locate it? Can you? No, you can't. It does not exist. What does this mean? Very significantly, I'll share with you what it means, what's been revealed to me as to what it means. There is not now, there never has been, nor will there ever be, a separate individual being who is living his or her life. Now, is that a blast in the ass? So who is this me that can be so concerned about so many things? That has so many concerns about doing it correctly and doing it right when there is not a me that can do it right or not? Is there anyone here who has ever read a novel written by an author? Anyone?
Yeah.
You read a novel written by an author? Any novel written by any author, right? Can you? Anyone hadn't? Okay, we all have. Was the character in the novel real outside of the mind of the author and your own mind when you identified with that character and tuned in with that character and followed the events and the drama of that character? Was he or she real? Only in your mind, right? Do you understand that that's the same thing about you and me? You and me, the me we think we are, the self we think we are, is nothing more than a character in the novel that is written by the author called God or the Supreme Being. And all of the events have been written into the plot by this author. Does that make you feel good? You say, well, what have I got to do with it? I mean, I was born. My parents were so and so. I was born in such and such a country, in such and such a city, with so many siblings, brothers and sisters, with so many aunts and uncles, with so many cousins. And I have so many nieces and nephews. Is that who you think you are? Who is the I that is thinking that? Can you find that I, that me, that is thinking that? Can you locate it? So, do you actually exist as an individual? Or only as a seeming being? Which would you prefer to be? An individual that exists with all your problems? Or to just surrender to the higher power and kind of watch it all unfold? It has to do with whether or not you're ready eventually it's going to be revealed that there is not now, never has been, nor will there ever be a separate individual being. You say, well, how can I be free of the things that anger me? I've just shared that one with you. You're not the person you think you are that is angry or not angry. You are the pure awareness of being itself. You only exist as a character in the mind of God, and more than that, you really are the supreme subject. You can't even be the object. You're the supreme subject. You're the inexperienceable experiencing itself. You are the I am that is. That was Moses' enlightenment. I am. My God, I am. I am the one that is living. Not the one I think I am, but the one that I am realizing without there being an I that is realizing it. The question is, are you ready for this? Not many are. As a matter of fact, very few are. You understand why we only have a handful of people here? Because everyone's not ready for this. Peace, freedom, and joy is the true nature of the being that we are, but we don't recognize this contentment of peace, freedom, and joy when we're identified with the body and the mind, thinking I am this body, I am my mind, I am my own conditioning, I am the history of my life, I am this character that is living this life. And I don't want to be told otherwise, and I'd like to have my own way. Show me how to have my own way. Well, I can even show you how to do that temporarily for a little while. That was another question with God. Will you clarify the two notions of being the creator of my world and surrendering to what is and that comes to me? Very simply, temporarily you can appear to create your own world, but who is the I that is creating my own world? We can seem to fashion and form matter by holding ideas and notions in mind long enough to get the feeling that they're already so, and bringing about manifestations of experiences to conform with this I that I think I am. But how long can you hold it? And once you have brought it into manifestation, will it give you contentment? Will it be long lasting? Will it give you peace, freedom, and joy? To the one who is still desiring, it may look like if I could just have this one more good thing that I want that I don't have now, I'll never need another thing. Anyone ever been there? Well, what happens when you get it?
Another one.
How long does it give you contentment? You say, well, it just wasn't big enough. I need it to be a little bigger. Stay with me just a little longer. I need to just adjust it just a little bit right here. I got it, but it didn't quite conform to the way I wanted it. So if I can just change it right here. Well, okay, what happens if that occurs? If that change is made, that it's just a little different. Is that going to do it? Is anybody hearing me?
Yes.
If you tell yourself the truth and see for yourself, you will know that that is not going to do it either. No matter what it is that you feel that you want, that was Buddha's enlightenment, desire, desire, desire. Desire is the cause of suffering. Huh? Not getting what you want is the cause of suffering. Or getting what you don't want is the cause of suffering. What was the Four Noble Truths? I don't even remember them anymore. I don't even consider them anymore. I just live in the awareness of being as the awareness being, in the contentment of the I am that I am, and I am happy. Happiness is what I am. Freedom is what I am. Peace and contentment is what I am. I can share that with you. I can even be with you and guide you in how to bring that about for yourself if you're willing to follow the guidance. But you see that not everyone is ready for this quality of peace, freedom, and joy. The majority of people are looking for what they call happiness from something in the world. Well, many years ago, I started sharing, there is no happiness in this world. And when I started sharing it, there's no happiness in the world, that's when all of the people started going elsewhere because they were looking for happiness from the world. Well, I can show, as I said, I could even show you how to do that for a while, but I also have to say there's no happiness there. It does not last. It's not dependable. I have a book in there. You can buy it if you want to. How to have happiness in the world. But in the book, all the way through it, I say it. Even though you can have it, it isn't going to give you the fulfillment. And those principles in there do work. I have shared those principles with people who've become multi-millionaires in the world. Didn't give them any happiness. It's whether or not you're ready to be happy. If you're ready to be happy and to be free, aham, the association of happiness is to get it, that happiness is your nature when you awaken to the being that you are, that you truly are, that you've always been, that you always will be, not the being you think you are, not the body-mind, not the history that you think you are, not your possessions, not all that you have, not what you do, not your profession, but the being that observes all of this, that sees all of this, that knows all of this to be what you think you are, that it knows is not you. This awareness, this pure awareness is who and what you are. This pure awareness that sees without there being someone there to do any seeing. This is what you are. And this you have to know without there being someone that knows. This you have to see without there being someone that does the seeing. It's like sight. Sight itself, pure sight. Can you doubt as a seeing being that there is sight? Can you doubt it?
No.
Sight is occurring. But can you see sight? Can you actually see sight? No. Sight is what is occurring. You can't see it. It is the focusing itself. When you get this, it is fully confirmed that there's no doubt. You don't believe in sight. You know that sight is, but you can't see sight. Sight is that which sees the seeing and the not seeing. Are you with me? So this awareness is what you are. You can't see the awareness that you are. You are the awareness that you are. This awareness is like sight. It sees everything, but it can't be seen. It experiences everything, but it can't be experienced. This is what you are. This is who you are. You have a question? Okay. Well, let's see if I got these questions. Okay. How can I become more conscious of the source of my anger so it will diminish? I don't want to reveal who asked that question, but if the person that asked that question would like to reveal themselves and answer, that's okay. I just take questions. I give answers from the awareness in the mode of letting the questions answer themselves. I have no answers. And the answer cannot come outside the one who has the question. The answer can only come to the one who has the question or come into the consciousness of the one who has the question, so that the insight can occur only in the consciousness of the one who has the question for there to be a true answer. So again, I don't know whether you all got what I just said. How can I become more conscious of the sources of my anger so it will diminish? By getting it that the source of anger is the mind. And due to identification with the mind as though that's me and that it is me that is angry, then we incorrectly think I am angry, but we're not. It's the conditioned mind that gets triggered off by an event. And once I see that I am not the mind, I have a mind. The mind is an object to this awareness that I am. The sense of I is an object to this awareness that I am. The sense of me is an object to this awareness that I am. So I have anger, but I am not angry. I see anger, but I am not angry. And I do not have to identify with it. And if I don't identify with it, I can't be angry. If I don't think anger, it's impossible for me to be angry. Would that answer the question? Anyone here, if you'd had it?
Yep.
Now, if there's any other question about it, I'll be happy to address it. Yes.
So in that moment of experiencing that anger and knowing that it's just going on inside you, not to identify with it, but in a moment of being with someone, and that realization there's no other, but knowing that it's going on inside you, the responsibility to yourself of saying, okay, clearing it within yourself, is it to tell the truth about it in the communication that this is to clear the space, this is going on within me, and put it on the table?
Meaning to communicate the anger to the person that you think that you're angry with?
Yes.
Well, you might do that if you wish to. It's not necessary to do that if you really just want to be clear and free of the anger. The anger is not in the person.
Yeah.
It's not in the person that you're angry with. It's really not in the situation that you think you're angry about.
Because the experience is just in the mind.
It's going on as an experience in the one who is thinking and feeling, I am angry.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, is that it's coming up for completion in you to be with it.
Yes, if you recognize that I'm triggered by something you said, or he said, or they said, or something you did, he said, or they did, some situation that I don't like, well, where is the dislike taking place? It's taking place within me, the one who feels that I don't like that, right? It's not going on outside. See? So it's me. I don't have to do anything out there to be free of the anger. Oh, I would like for them to change and do what I want them to do, but that's not necessarily likely going to be the situation. Because on that, they changed. Oh, now I'm no longer upset. But the cause of the upset did not get healed. See? Did not get transformed. The cause was in me. It wasn't in them. You get that? So I don't have to do anything about getting them to change out there. For me to get them to change out there is not going to heal my anger. Because the anger is in me. You with me?
Absolutely.
That's all there is to it. It's just that simple. Yes.
So by communicating it to the other person, I'm angry at you, it just dissipates momentarily, but it's not healed.
Well, if I am no longer angry because I have dealt with it in me, there's no anger in me. The event that was going on was not the cause of the anger to begin with. So it doesn't depend upon the other person doing anything. Now, if I want to say something, that there was something going on in me that you did that pissed me off, but it was me that was, see? I don't even have to say anything to them. I can and say, hey, what you just did pissed me off, but I'm taking responsibility, and it wasn't you, it was me. It was going on in me. And now I'm seeing that. See, and all we have to do is see it. See through it. Wow, that's a pattern in me. That's a pattern going on in me. It's up to me now to transform that pattern in me. How do I do that? Who has it? I have it. It's going on in me as a thought. I'm thinking that. See it as a thought going on. Don't identify with it. Just watch it. And just like clouds passing over, it will eventually dissipate if I don't give it any energy by identifying with it and further calling it me. Because it's not me. It's just anger. Sometimes it's appropriate to have anger. So you don't want to do away with all anger. Sometimes it is. You should have learned that one back when I first met you. Ah, see? If there are times in which you are being taken advantage of, then you want to be alert to that when someone is taking advantage of you. Okay? Are you getting it? Okay. Once you use the anger, it's just a tool. You use it. See, it's just a tool. And then once you no longer, let's say you're going around carrying a screwdriver because you're unscrewing screws. You don't carry it around with you forever. Say, well, I'm the screwdriver carrier. You just carry out the screwdriver around as long as you need to unscrew screws. Put it down and carry a hammer. So now I'm a hammer carrier. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, don't identify with it.
No, but was conditioning that that's not acceptable to be angry.
No, you see, conditioning and being angry from conditioning is one thing. Being angry from an event that takes place where someone's taking advantage of you or someone in your family or someone you love that you have protection of. See, that's another thing. In other words, be wise, don't be stupid. Are you with me? Huh? You don't seem to be real sure about it.
Oh, no, well, I just, when you said, what was the last thing you said? Was someone in your family that you love, that you protect.
Yes. Yes. It could be your car. Someone stole your car. Huh? Well, report it to the police. I'm angry. Someone stole my car. But you're only angry in the moment with the event. You don't stay angry forever. See, anger is an event, as something happening. Don't identify with it. When it comes up, it comes up. And in the moment that it comes up, if it's appropriate to be responsive in that regard, it's appropriate to be responsive in that regard. Just don't identify with it forever. You don't have to stay angry forever. You with me?
Yes.
Okay. Are we all here, at least temporarily? Or at least somewhat? Huh? All right. We've come to the end of this interlude together, from the time that we normally call it an interlude. The timeless time has come, that the interlude has come to its interlude ending. Huh? It's been wonderful to be with you. We can have another little short interlude out in the portico informally. Namaste.
Namaste.